You've seen the claims. This penny is worth $1 million. This quarter can make you rich overnight. But is it true? The truth is, most of it is completely fake. Exaggerated prices, misleading hype. That's what we're here to expose. Welcome to Rare Coin Collecting.
Most people know the Alaska State Quarter for its bold grizzly bear design. Released in 2008, it quickly became one of the most popular coins in the 50 State Quarters program. But what many don't realize is that the San Francisco-clad proof version of this coin hides some incredible secrets. And if you have the right one, it could be worth far more than pocket change. Let's start with the basics. The Alaska Quarter was the 49th coin, released in the State Quarters program, representing the last frontier, admitted to the Union in 1959. The design features a massive grizzly bear emerging from the water with a salmon clenched in its jaws. It's a powerful image of survival and the wild spirit of Alaska. Above the bear, the North Star shines, and the coin proudly reads "The Great Land." Now, unlike the regular quarters struck in Philadelphia and Denver for circulation, the San Francisco Mint struck proof versions. These coins were never meant for circulation. They were sold directly to collectors as part of annual proof sets. In 2008, the San Francisco Mint made about 2 million clad proof Alaska quarters. That sounds like a lot, but compared to the hundreds of millions of regular circulation strikes, it's a tiny fraction. The clad proof version has a mirror-like background and frosted design elements, giving it that deep cameo contrast collectors love. At first glance, most of these are just worth a few dollars. But as with all coins, the key is in the condition, rarity, and errors. Here's where things get interesting. In perfect PR70 deep cameo condition, Alaska-clad proof quarters have sold for $250 to $400. Most proof set coins grade out lower, in PR69 or PR68, where they're only worth a small premium. But that single point, jump from PR69 to PR70, can multiply the value tenfold. And then there are the errors. Proof coins aren't supposed to have mistakes. The San Francisco Mint takes great care in striking them. But when errors do slip through, they become incredibly valuable because they're so unusual. Collectors have documented double dies on the inscriptions like "In God We Trust" or "Liberty", clipped planchets where part of the coin is missing, and even mirror brockages where one side shows a mirror image of the design. Some of these error proofs have fetched $1,000 to $5,000 at specialty auctions. Here's a fun piece of history. When the Alaska Quarter was first released, collectors across the U.S. lined up at banks just to get rolls. The grizzly bear design was so popular, it sold out of rolls and bags almost instantly, but most people never realized the proof versions in San Francisco were struck with extra care, making them the hidden gems of the series. Now let's put this in perspective. Imagine you're browsing a coin shop or a garage sale. You see a random proof set from 2008 sitting in a box. The seller wants $10 or $50 for it. Inside that set is the Alaska-clad proof quarter. If it turns out to be a PR70 deep cameo example, you just paid $15 for a coin worth hundreds, or possibly more if it has a rare variety. That's the kind of hidden treasure coin collectors dream of. Here are some tips if you're hunting for one. 1. Check proof sets. Many people break them up and sell the coins individually. 2. Look for deep cameo contrast. The more dramatic the frosted design against the mirror background, the higher the grade potential. 3. Inspect for doubling. Use a magnifier on Liberty and the date. 2008. Any strong doubling can transform value instantly. 4. Submit for grading. If you believe you've got a flawless example, send it to PCGS or NGC. Only certified PR70 coins bring the top money. And don't overlook the historical and collector appeal. This was the last state quarter released before Hawaii, completing the 50 State Quarters program. For many collectors, the Alaska Quarter marked the climax of one of the most successful U.S. coin programs ever. That emotional connection drives demand, and demand drives prices. Let's talk real numbers again. Common 2008s, Alaska-clad proof quarters, about 5 to 15. PR69 deep cameo, $20 to $40. PR70 deep cameo, $250 to $400, sometimes more. Error proofs, $1,000 to $5,000. Depending on the type and severity, that means the coin sitting in an old proof set could be worth more than a month's worth of groceries, or even cover a mortgage payment if it's the right one. So, the next time you come across a 2008 Alaska proof quarter, don't dismiss it as just another collector coin. Look closer. That gleaming grizzly bear might be holding far more than a salmon in its jaws. It might just be holding your financial luck. Because in the world of coin collecting, it only takes one special find to turn an ordinary proof into a priceless treasure. Here's a real-world example. In 2019, a PCGS-graded PR70 Deep Cameo Hawaii silver proof sold for $552 in a heritage auction. In 2021, another example crossed the block at $600, and in private sales, collectors have paid even more just to secure a perfect specimen of the last state quarter ever made. So what should you look for if you're hunting for one of these treasures? 1. Always check proof sets. The Hawaii silver proof quarter came in the 2008 silver proof set and the 2008 silver quarter set. These sets often sit untouched in coin shops or estate sales. 2. Look for deep cameo contrast. The field should be like mirrors, and the devices should have that sharp, frosty finish. 3. Check for errors and varieties. Even a subtle double die on the inscriptions or islands can skyrocket the value. 4. Consider grading. If you believe you have a flawless example, send it to PCGS or NGC. Only certified PR70 coins bring top dollar prices. And here's a tip many beginners miss. Don't just check the quarter itself. If you're buying a 2008 silver proof set, make sure all the coins are pristine. Collectors will sometimes pay more for a complete, untouched set than for the individual coins. That way you can maximize your return when it's time to sell. Now let's summarize the value tiers. Regular 2008S, Hawaii silver proof, 10 to 20. PR69 Deep Cameo, $50 to $80. PR70 Deep Cameo, $400 to $600. Rare error proofs, $1,000 to $3,000. And remember, silver itself only makes up a few dollars of that. The true value is in rarity, condition, and demand. So the next time you see a shiny Hawaii silver proof quarter, don't think of it as just another piece of silver. Think of it as the final chapter in one of the greatest collecting stories of all time. A coin that combines history, beauty, and scarcity in a way few others do. Because while King Kamehameha reaches his hand toward the islands, he might just be reaching out to hand you a piece of treasure, worth far more than you ever imagined. In 2008, the U.S. Mint released the Alaska Quarter, part of the final year of the legendary 50 State Quarters program. The design is powerful and eye-catching. A giant grizzly bear standing by a rushing salmon stream, jaws wide open as it seizes a fish. Above the scene, the inscriptions read, "The Great Land," a nickname for Alaska that reflects both its size and rugged beauty. Now, while hundreds of millions of Alaska quarters were struck for circulation at Philadelphia and Denver, the real treasures are the San Francisco proofs, and especially the silver proofs. These are the ones collectors chase. So, what makes the 2008 Alaska silver proof quarter special? First, the composition. Unlike regular circulation strikes made of copper and nickel, the silver proofs were struck on planchets of 90% silver and 10% copper. Each coin contains about 0.18 ounces of pure silver. At today's bullion prices, that gives it a melt value of around 4 to 5. But here's the key. These aren't just bullion coins. Their collector value far outweighs their silver content. Second, the mintage. Only about 1.2 million Alaska silver-proof quarters were produced by the San Francisco Mint. That's tiny compared to the hundreds of millions of circulation strikes. And since these silver proofs were only available in special silver-proof sets, many are still locked away in their original holders, but only the best preserved ones bring serious money. Now let's talk numbers. A typical ungraded Alaska silver proof sells for $10 to $20. In high-grade PR69 Deep Cameo, prices jump to $50 to $80, and in the elusive perfect PR70 Deep Cameo, Alaska silver proofs have sold for $350 to over $500. But here's where it gets exciting. Collectors go crazy for errors and varieties, even on proof coins. Imagine finding a double die in the inscriptions, or a coin with frosted devices missing. giving the grizzly a ghostly look. Errors like that have sold for $1,000 to $3,000 or more. Yes, even on proof coins that were supposed to be flawless. Let me give you an example. In 2020, an Alaska silver proof quarter graded PR70 Deep Cameo sold for $495 at auction. Just 1 year later, another specimen brought over $550, and with silver prices and collector demand both climbing, the ceiling is even higher today. Now here's an important point. The Alaska quarter has a design element that drives extra interest. That massive grizzly bear with the salmon is considered one of the boldest, most dramatic designs of the entire series. It appeals not only to coin collectors but also to wildlife enthusiasts, hunters, and outdoors fans. That crossover demand makes the silver proof even more desirable. So what should you do if you want to find one of these treasures? Here are some expert tips. 1. Check original. 2008 silver proof sets. That's where these quarters came from. Coin shops, eBay, and estate sales are prime spots to find them. 2. Examine the coin carefully. Look for deep cameo contrast, mirror-like fields, and frosted devices. 3. Watch for errors. Any doubling on the Great Land or the date or unusual strike issues can dramatically boost value. 4. Consider certification. A coin graded PR70 by PCGS or NGC can sell for hundreds more than an ungraded example. And here's a clever trick. Sometimes it's smarter to buy the entire silver proof set rather than just the individual coin. Complete sets tend to be preserved better and can appreciate more in value over time. Let's break down the value tiers again. Silver melt value, 4.5. Average proof, 10.20. PR69 Deep Cameo, $50-$80. Perfect PR70 Deep Cameo, 300 members, 500 plus. Rare error proofs, 1,000, 3,000 or more. When you think about it, that's incredible. A coin that started life as part of a proof set sold for under $30 can now fetch hundreds or even thousands, depending on grade and rarity. And remember, the Alaska silver proof isn't just about silver. It's about history. It was one of the final quarters in the series, released right before Hawaii closed the program. For collectors who wanted to complete the set, Alaska was a must-have, and that's why its demand has never faded. So the next time you see a proof quarter gleaming in a set or slab, pay close attention to that grizzly bear, because that bear might not just be catching salmon. It might be catching you a treasure worth hundreds, maybe even thousands of dollars. Because in coin collecting, as in the Alaskan wilderness, fortune favors the sharp-eyed hunter.